Welcome CSC 230 W1 to our final assignment of the semester for spring 23, and this is going to be 18B, and this is going to be working with a table and working with a form, and it shouldn't be that difficult and it shouldn't take that long, and if it becomes a problem I'll give you extra credit for some of it or all of it depending how we do here, but I think the hero page one went faster for most people since I gave you a lot of code to work on. But anyway, let me just show you what we're going to do here. We're going to basically build on to the landscape design hero page, and when you come down here we're going to put a link on contact so that it goes to a new page. So we're going to hyperlink that, and it's just going to do something very simple. It's going to make a contact form, and we're going to build this, and we'll actually build it out of the previous page and just take away the hero image part. We'll still keep the navigation down here, except for everything else we'll just kind of put in a form. And basically what's on here is a header section with an H1, and we could use the same styling as we did on the hero page where the hero text with a drop shadow, a text shadow on here, Arial black, things like that. And there's basically a contact form here, and it's inside a table. So we're going to put just an H2 here. We're going to put labels for input fields. Here's an input field. Here's an input field. It's called input text, input text, input. This one is actually a select. I think on the sample we start with, it has country, but we're going to use state, and then we have a text area here, and then we have a submit. Now this will not submit to anything because Replit will not process PHP. Now we could set up something like that, but it's too late in the semester for that. That's something we'll do in our CSC 235 class. We'll work on form processing and PHP and things like that. Even in our database class we focus on that, but I'll show you a little bit about it. So that's all we're going to do here, and we're going to put it in a table. Now this doesn't even really require a table because they're all rows. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 with the button, 9 rows. So we're just going to set up a table with 9 rows just because I think it's good to know how to use a table, even though tables aren't used as much anymore with HTML. They used to be used all the time before we started using divs and floats and flex and all that kind of stuff. But now they're just used pretty much for rows and columns, and we're going to do it for rows here, and it should make it fairly simple, and you could still style tables, the width and things like that that are inside it. So let me just show you what we're going to do here, and this video will really just be the intro. So what we're going to do here is make a page called contact HTML and copy everything from index and then wipe out the top part, and then basically create a header with landscape design in it. That's the green background thing. That's this. Then we're going to make a section container, and that's going to have our contact form in it with a table. So here's our table. The heading contact form is outside the table, but here's our table, and it has 9 rows. And tables are basically set up with a table tag. Then they have TRs for rows, so we're going to have 9 TR elements, and then they're going to have cell elements, tabular data, TD, inside those. So typically that works well when you need to have multiple columns, but these will only have 1 column. And we'll adapt some of the code from something from W3 schools. Now, one thing I just want to point out, when we submit, there's usually an action on it, and I didn't even put the form action on this yet, but we will. Typically what happens is it goes to a PHP page that will process it. PHP is for processing, and they turn them into PHP variables, and it gets sent to a PHP processor that sits on a server. Well, Replit can't do that. I tried to do it elsewhere, and it's not really working well. So I just wanted to show you that that's what it would look like. This is PHP code. I just put it in here just to give an idea, and we do that in the database class, and we'll also do it in the CSC 235 class, which is running in the fall. So just wanted to point that out, but for this, it won't really go anywhere when we hit submit. So when we go down here and we fill it out and we hit submit, it's not going to do anything. But we will put a link just to go back to the home page. And we also will set it up so it's somewhat responsive. So when we go back here, it'll be somewhat responsive so that it doesn't have as much space on it. We'll put more space in the beginning, and then we'll just shorten the margin when we get here. So that's all we're going to do for that, and we'll go over creating a table. We'll go over some of the form elements, and then we'll style them. So we'll style some of the spacing in between here. We'll style some of the width, background colors, try to keep it consistent to what we did on the hero page. So that's what we're going to be doing next. So again, we're just going to make a new file, copy all the stuff from index. So you'll be working in your same repel for your hero page. So you should do your hero page. And you'll also be working on the same styles.css file. And then we'll just add in some things for the header contact, some things for the form. So we'll just add some more elements in here. And then at the end, we'll probably just put 1 or 2 things for anything that's in the, I think I only put 1 thing here. Section table, I only adjusted the width of that. So that's what we're going to going to be doing, and again, we're going to be borrowing it from this form, which is from the how-to section of W3 Schools. So we could copy some of this stuff out of here. Not that it's that hard to do. But one thing to point out, they don't use a table here, but I'm going to use a table just to get used to using a table. They just use CSS. So if you look in here, they're actually formatting everything with the CSS. And that's fine, especially since they don't have columns. But we're going to use a table just to get used to a table. So we'll keep it simple. First name, last name, state, and a text area for subject, and a submit button. So that's what we're going to style in here, just to have another page and just to work on a form and a table in here. So that'll be coming up in part 2. We'll get started with that from scratch.